way, and there have been reports that it's been extinguished 3 to 4 times. So how are those protests being received in China itself? Well, our Beijing correspondent James Reynolds has been monitoring it for us.
It's very interesting. China appears to be covering all the news with a 24-hour delay, with a one-day delay. Today, most of the news coverage we've been watching on Chinese state TV has been about the London demonstrations yesterday. I fully imagine that tomorrow, when I switch on the TV here, I'm going to find coverage of the Paris protests. Essentially, China needs several hours in which to try to work out what to do with the pictures and what kind of line to take. So today's been all about London, all about the fact that the protesters were actually separatists, that the protests were sabotaged and doomed to failure. Tomorrow we'll switch on the TV and find out what China thinks about the protests in Paris.
To what extent do you think of the Chinese being surprised or even taken aback by the strength of these protests in London and Paris? And to what extent do they see them, do you think, as a bit of a PR disaster?
It's so difficult to try to get the answers to those questions, and believe me, those are the questions we're trying to ask here the whole time. Look, clearly this is not the image that they wanted, to see the torture going under heavy security, to see protesters. No matter what they say, this is not the image that they wanted. The trouble is this: they can't cancel it, they can't change the countries, because to change or cancel the itinerary is to admit failure. So then to saying that everything is going well, that everything is going smoothly, that there are just a handful of protesters who don't make any difference.
And ordinary Chinese on the street, as it were, on those streets behind you there in Beijing, are they at all aware, really, of what's been going on in terms of the strength, the power of these protests?
They are. Last night, of course, we had to tell them because it wasn't on state news and they were a bit confused. But this morning, when Chinese state TV had decided to run the pictures, a lot of people we spoke to knew about them. A lot of people were angry, suspicious of the West. One woman said that she believed it was part of an attempt by the West to suppress China, to keep China down, because everyone was jealous of China. I must admit, that view is something we found from many, many people here. They believe the West has bad motives and is out to get China.
James Reynolds talking to me there from Beijing. Just to let you know, you can see more on the aftermath of the London torch protests by pressing the red button and selecting News Multi-Screen. There it is, top right-hand of those 6 screens.
In March 1941, at the height of the Blitz, German bombers raided Clydebank. Amongst the injured was John Gray, who lost the use of his right eye. He coped for decades, but then a few years ago started to go blind in his left eye too.